we've got more news of Destiny. You want to tell us what's happening with Facebook?
Oh, yeah, let's talk about the lovely update with Facebook. So basically, Facebook Horizons is going to be like real life interaction where everything was recorded and monitored. Yay. So um this is like so weird. Okay, so basically all the users in Horizon are involuntarily going to be recording each other on a rolling basis. This recording is stored on the headset itself. If one user reports another, the recording may be sent to Facebook to check the rule for violations. The company says that the recording will be deleted once the report is concluded. That's super creepy. And
That
then I think the
yeah.
creepiest thing is that anyone you interact with, you can invite invisible observers from Facebook to watch you in real time to make sure you don't break any rules. And oh yeah, and so the users will not be notified when they're being watched. So it just keeps getting better. That's great.
So it's hard. It's hard.
I gotta say though, and maybe I'll disagree. How is this really different than any other sort of game out there or MMO? It's like anything you do online is normally being observed anyway. If you're in, say, World of Warcraft, which is, Facebook Horizons is basically like an MMO. Everything you do can be recorded anyway, and you can be restricted and hit for rule violations for anything. I really don't see how this is all that different. The only creepy part about it is that how much more VR feels like real life. And so when it
Yeah.
feels like you're being recorded in VR, it kind of feels like an invasion of your real life privacy. But
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, maybe you guys will have some different thoughts, but it doesn't feel like that big of a deal to me.
Well, to any listeners who aren't caught up on the podcast or haven't been watching VR news, Facebook Horizons is basically going to be what Facebook was trying to make a VR oasis, like in Ready Player One. Basically, a hub where everyone hangs out. They do social stuff. They go play games. This is basically news telling us you're constantly going to be monitored. And that was my first question, Adam. I was going to say because I know people get banned in Rec Room all the time for being inappropriate, and I'm like, well, how do they know they actually did it? Are all these other companies already doing this and it's buried in their terms of service and we're just freaking out because they actually told us they're going to do it? Like, is this commonplace in games? I don't know. But if it is, we may be dealing with this already, and this may not be the big deal it sounds like. Just the way they worded it sounded kind of creepy.
Yes, yeah,
So
that's
the
very
only
Facebookish.
singular creepy thing about this, sorry for interrupting, Destiny. You can
No,
continue.
no, no, you're fine. No, you're fine.
So I'm rereading over the actual news posting. The really creepy thing that they have though is that everyone is involuntarily recording each other. So your own headset is constantly being recorded, which means that it's not just a game thing. It can be, if it's stored on the headset, it is a hardware thing, meaning that they can record you in any game you play, not just Horizons. And that's where it goes kind of from,
Hmm.
Yeah.
oh, this is typical MMO stuff to like, okay, this is dystopian North Korea.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that is
I-
true. That is
imagine,
strange.
imagine, imagine all the people in VR chat being recorded all the time.
Right?
Like,
Yeah,
Right?
I
like
We could
mean,
it's
be recording right now. We would never know.
exactly.
Not
with
like
So
an
we
it,
have like
invisible
4 cameras
observer.
on us right now or anything, but you know.
Yeah.
it's just, and yeah. Did we have a discussion, or did you guys talk about eye tracking? Right? You talked about eye tracking.
I
Yeah.
believe we did in a
We
I think we
previous
touched on
talk,
it.
did.
yeah.
And the
Yeah.
We
security,
didn't
some of the
go in
security
depth.
concerns around that. I think it's it's another example of big tech and invasion of privacy. Unfortunately, I think it's just going to get worse, and we're just going to get more used to it. Um, yeah, I mean, we already experience it on our phones. I mean, everything we look at, everything we say can technically be recorded. So and probably is. So
Yeah, and so this is where Facebook is really using their Oculus link, where soon on Oculus devices, it could very well be that no matter what software you use, what applications you're in, you're going to be start getting recorded soon, and that is kind of creepy. That's kind of
Yeah.
terrible.
you're going to be able to use it like if it's so. We got also got to look into this from the perspective that they're going to be connecting all of the Oculus system to Facebook. So obviously, this is data collection for advertising on Facebook, for probably like liability stuff, where it doesn't become a platform
Right.
that people can like plan stuff or do bad things in.
Yeah.
So I think it's just their whole network that if you're in, and you got to kind of get used to it or get out. You know.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to take it in that direction, but I guess that's what makes it, like, so much more weird versus, like, other people or other games already using that, like Facebook, like, they're so extra weird about stuff that, like, you have no idea, like, what they're trying to do with it, you know? Because
Well,
like, and I know other games, like in Alt Space, like, they're using I don't like, with them, I don't think they're actually, like, recording and, doing stuff like this per se, like, I know how they monitor and they can ban people is, like, they'll have actual people who are designated as the monitor in a room with you that, like, if they hear you cussing or misbehaving, you know, they
Yeah.
can, like, you know, talk to you or whatever, get onto you, but not like this. Like, that's I don't
Yeah.
know.
well, the main problem with this is that there's a difference between software recording and hardware recording.
Yeah.
So normally, if you're, say, in an MMO, World of Warcraft, just because it's easy, there's server recordings, there's server actions, and they look through the server logs to see if anything
But your
happened.
computer isn't.
Right, but your computer
Yeah.
isn't. This is the equivalent of like Blizzard is using and saving the recording footage on your computer and then accessing your computer to retrieve that footage.
It's a backdoor
This
to
is where
anything,
it's
really.
creepy because that recording doesn't extend just to Horizons. It can extend to any game you play. And they're probably not going to care about what your high score in Beat Saber is. They can look through any recording of any application, any game, any software, any entertainment videos that you're watching, any of that. They're recording you. They can record you and look it up later. And that is
Yeah.
deeply disturbing.
They're going to
Yeah.
get to know
Yeah.
you really well. For
Really
anyone
well.
out there, if you don't have a friend, you have one in Facebook now because they're going to know you better
Right.
than
Yeah.
anyone else does. And
It's
like,
not
Mark
my
Zucker-
personal FBI agent, right? It's my personal Facebook guy that's watching
just
over
Mark
me.
Zuckerberg laying back in a nice chair with just TV screens with people in VR goggles.
Right?
Mhm.
It's like my two guardian angels. I got the FBI agent on
Yeah.
one shoulder and the Facebook on the other.
Well protected.
They'll
Yeah.
always be there.
as scary as it sounds, I will tell you from having a bit of experience in doing surveillance work, it is the most boring thing ever, though. So, will you be able to be watched and monitored? Yes. Is anyone actually going to be watching you all the time to see what you
Yeah.
do?
Well, no.
No, it's freaking boring to watch people. Like it is so hard to like scroll through security footage and like wait for something to
Right.
happen because the moment it happened was such a small point in time and everything else was just so boring.
Yeah, but
And
it's just
that's
the more-
where, software really comes into big play because I deal without my real life job sifting through giant tons of, huge data sets looking for interesting things. Where with software, they can easily scan through everything. Oh, hey, what did they look at? Did they show a little bit more attention to that on their recording? And then start targeting advertising to you. And that is creepy.
Mm.